Okay, we're gonna go over a couple more features here in the 26 R1 release. Um, Starting with the added side panel to the customer information screen. As Mimi mentioned at the top of the call, side panels are a really great way to leverage seeing more information on a single screen and allows basically like a split screen function as well. They can be added to pretty much any generic inquiry that's created, but as this customer list is out of the box, they added some for us here, as well as we will go over some new flexibility and control that Acumatica has implemented into invoices that relate to prepaid customers and their sales orders. So with that being said, I'll flip over to Acumatica here. So as mentioned, the first feature is pretty straightforward, but still leverages a lot of power for users. If you're familiar with this customer screen, you know that the amount of information you can see from this screen is a bit limited. And a lot of times, if you're really digging and trying to find some information on a customer, it will require you to drill into the customer ID and the customer page itself. Now, with this more built out side panel feature, you can click on any of these options on the right-hand side, and a pop-up window will come. This first option being the customer card itself. So this provides a lot of insight into the customer. This is obviously the full customer card that I'm sure most people are familiar with. You can make these full screen as well by using these arrows in the top right-hand corner. And not only does this allow us to see more information, but it also allows us to leverage the actions that are available on the customer card. So this can become really powerful, and it gives us the ability to flip through customers very easily as well. So as you highlight a new row on the left-hand side, the right-hand side will update with that relative customer's information. So as well as viewing the customer card, we have the ability now to view all of the contacts, any related documents, statements, and aging on the customer, all from the customer list. So this provides a lot of ease of use for end users when it comes to drilling into different customers and what that can look like. Now, as for the second, oh, here we go. So now we can click on our contacts and see all of our different contacts, as well as documents is a nice little dashboard that relates to our customers and gives us information about them at a glance. Now, moving on to the second item I will be covering today is related to this checkbox here. So right now we are in the different order types under the sales order module. Order types being different types of sales orders, different types of invoices, and the functionality that was added here is this checkbox under the accounts receivable settings, so related to invoices. And what we have here is validate invoices from orders with 100% prepayment required. So now we have the ability to turn this on or off. And I will take you through a demo here to show you how that plays out in the real world and what kind of scenario this could be useful for. So as you can see here on the order type SO, we have this option turned on. And then on the order type I have in the system here, SH, I have it turned off. So first I'll take you through an SO, and essentially I just have this basic sales order entered, and you can see it's awaiting payment, and that is driven here from the prepayment terms. So for this customer in my system, we have their financial terms set that they should prepay 100% of the order ahead of time. So that results in our sales order status awaiting payment. So I will go ahead and take the payment for this order. Okay. So I will go ahead and take the payment for this order. And that will open up the status on my sales order so that I can move on to the next step, which will be creating a shipment. So now my sales order status is open and I can go ahead and create the shipment. And in this scenario, that we're walking down, I want to basically add like a last minute shipping fee to this order. So they've already prepaid what was on the order, but now we get into shipment and, shoot, we had to add a shipment price to this order. So let's say they have to pay $10 in shipping here. That's fine. I can add it to the shipment right here and I'll confirm the shipment. And essentially what that does is it creates an outstanding $10 on the invoice. So the rest of the order was already paid, but now we have this additional shipping cost that will flow through to the invoice. And if you'll remember, we started on the SO order, which has that checkbox marked, which means that the system will want to validate the invoice against the payment terms on the order, which will result in the invoice being put on credit hold. So that is what the system means when it says to validate against the terms on the order itself. And now if we go ahead and do the same scenario on a different order type that does not have that checkbox created, let's see if I've been logged out on this one. This is the risk run when you're towards the end of our queue here. But so still the status is awaiting payment because our prepayment terms are the same on this order. So I'll go ahead and take the prepayment. Which will change our status to open and allow us to create the shipment for this order. And we're going to run through the same scenario in this case as well. So we want to add a shipping fee to the shipment that will flow through to the invoice. I will go ahead and confirm the shipment, which will allow me to prepare the invoice. And now, if you recall, for this particular order type, I have the checkbox unchecked, which means that the invoice will not be validating against the payment terms on our order. So you can see that the invoice still comes in as balanced. So really what this does is it allows flexibility on how we want our invoices to operate when it comes to customers with prepayment terms. There's pros and cons both ways here, right? This does not only apply for, shipping fees or even fees related to that particular order because, right, we can have an invoice with multiple orders on it. It'll also apply to different orders being added to the invoice. So if we have, special case where maybe a customer has a one-off situation where they need to prepay, but we don't necessarily, that's not the norm, and we don't want to drive that functionality all the way through to the end of the invoice because we may invoice in bulk and have different orders on there that don't require prepayment. That could be a scenario we would want to leave this checkbox unchecked so that the invoice can come in balance and we could send the invoice and they can pay after.